Gentlemen, he is the problem child, Jake El Gallo. Oh! Making his entrance to the ring, the challenger, AJ Anthony Joshua.
Striking coach, man I've known for over 20 years, and our unofficial scorer, Sean Wheelock, gave the opening round to the returning.
Here we go, live.
A close fight, so you don't want
for AJ not having it on his own.
I think both guys actually taking it on.
Ching two.
Body by Fox. There's a left hand.
Put it fairly wide, haven't you, Carl? I know Tony Bellew has too. I've seen Anthony Joshua so fast. Left foot comes
to it. His age, yeah, he's been pretty busy. Look at it.
That's a half.
Anthony Joshua.
Matches with the right hand.
Left through the guard.
Oh, uppercut there.
Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua played out as a slow-burning heavyweight drama, where every second felt heavier than the last tension built, and nothing came easy.
Anthony Joshua, as we all know, never been down, amateur or pro. But there's some more.
It's those a lazy jab. That's what you want.
Nose of Silva.
Very loose.
From the opening bell, Jake looked loose and confident, bouncing on his toes and flicking shots to control the rhythm and show he belonged. Joshua stayed tall and patient, calm-eyed and disciplined, letting the fight come to him rather than forcing the action.
This jab right there that really knocked Jake back. And we see that only one big shot, 2 points.
The matching with the right hand. So a lot of focus on Joshua's.
We're fighting a pretty busy pace.
Should have the crowd like that. Traction. The glamorous. Looks in control, but up close as he tries the uppercut.
The early rounds felt like a chess match built on power. Jake circled and feinted, trying to break rhythm and disrupt timing, while Joshua calmly measured distance, stepping just enough to remind him how tight the ring feels against a seasoned heavyweight. As it settled, shots, sharpened, clinches turned physical, and the pace became a mental grind.
2. Left hook. Let's follow on that combination from Silva.
Oh! Another jolting right hand sends Joshua down. Anthony Joshua floored and hurt here in the 6th.
Every time Joshua planted his feet, the crowd tightened, and whenever the pressure closed in, Jake dug deep, refusing to panic or fade. Midway through the fight became something rarer, less about narratives and more about surviving moments, managing fatigue, and choosing wisely under stress. Neither man rushed or folded, each round testing belief against experience.
Very loose. To play a part in this.
Man, this jab right there that really knocked Jake back. And we see that only one big shot, 2 points.
The matching with the right hand. So a lot of focus on Joshua's.
We're fighting a pretty busy pace.
Should have the crowd like that. Traction. The glam.
In the later rounds, sweat breath and willpower told the story, as both fighters leaned on composure as much as power. It wasn't flashy or reckless, just controlled intensity. Ambition collided with heavyweight reality, leaving the arena buzzing not from one moment, but because the fight itself asked a question only the ring can ask.
It can happen, and you hope your opponent leaves the ring safely, but if they don't, you know, you still have to go to bed at night knowing that you just done your job. It wasn't personal.
I mean, yeah, look, I mean, it is a big task, but I mean, if this fight were 14 months ago or whatever, however many months ago you had the belt, then when I win, it would have been me becoming the heavyweight champion of the world. So
you would have beat me for the belt.
And you claim you're better.
Before a punch was thrown, the contrast appeared on the scale and quietly set the tone. Anthony Joshua weighed in at a solid 243.4 pounds, looking carb-balanced and purposeful. Not bulky for show, but built like a heavyweight who knows exactly what his body needs to handle 12 hard rounds.
Okay. 243.4. 243.4.
243.4 for Mr. Anthony Joshua. 243.4. I'm going to need all media to...
No excess or theatrics, Just a familiar presence of a man comfortable carrying size, strength, and expectation at once. At that weight, Joshua looked optimized for control and durability. Heavy enough to impose authority, yet composed enough to move with patience rather than rush moments. It felt less like a flex and more like a quiet statement. He arrived ready for real work, not spectacle, knowing that heavyweight structure and stability matter as much as power. Jake Paul followed at 216 pounds, noticeably lighter, leaner, and sharp, carrying himself with the confidence of someone trusting conditioning and speed over sheer mass. His weight reflected a different approach, built on mobility rhythm and endurance rather than brute force, suggesting a game plan centered on movement, timing, and belief in his game. At 216, Jake looked athletic and prepared, not intimidated by the size gap, but clearly aware of it, choosing efficiency over bulk and precision over presence. That difference on the scale didn't register as a weakness. It felt like a calculated gamble, built on the belief that preparation, speed, and confidence could help close the distance against a much heavier man. Before the bell ever rang, the numbers told their own story: 2 bodies, 2 philosophies, 1 ring, and very different ideas about how the night would unfold. Then came the moment that sharpened the picture even more. With the weigh-in complete, Anthony Joshua took the microphone and calmly reminded everyone not to confuse kindness with mercy. Listening to him, it didn't feel like arrogance. It sounded like experience answering back. He wasn't dismissing Jake or calling him delusional. He framed him as dangerous in the only way that truly matters in boxing belief, that Joshua's message was simple and deliberate. Underestimate a man who believes in himself, and you've already given him a chance. So when AJ said fans are beginning to fool AJ, it wasn't trash talk or theatrics. It was a professional warning, delivered without noise, signaling that this wasn't about
216.6. Yeah, absolutely dialed! You listen to me, brother! When the ring bells, I'm coming in there and I'm coming on his ass! You know who I are! I are him!
No carrying, no charity rounds, no influencer detours. Just a methodical heavyweight doing what heavyweights do. The way he explains it feels like a craftsman, not a bully. Knockouts aren't accidents. They're built through process and patience. When he talks about integrity, that's the point some fans miss. AJ isn't chasing hero or villain roles. He's here to do the job right, because boxing doesn't reward shortcuts. And sure, he leans into the knockout talk with a grin, because everyone watching understands what makes boxing ignite when fists start flying. This wasn't AJ glorifying violence. It was him saying he wouldn't dilute the moment. At 243 pounds, with power in both hands and no interest in babysitting, he spoke like a man who knows exactly who he is, what's expected, and how thin the line is between spectacle and seriousness. When a heavyweight talks this calmly, clearly, and unapologetically, that's when the room stops laughing and starts listening.
Do you just think this guy's deluded?
Nah. Look, an amateur coming into the game with no experience, he's taking on some good names. They may be old, they may be from different combats in terms of MMA and so on, but he's got in the ring at a decent level, fought Tommy Fury and so on, so he believes.
Right after AJ delivered that calm heavyweight authority, Jake Paul steps up, sounding like a man who's already made peace with his own destiny. Listening to him, you think this is peak Jake Paul, energy part manifesting, monk part main character, fully convinced the universe RSVP'd to his storyline. He's not rattled, not rushing, speaking like this fight was penciled onto his vision board years ago. Whether you buy it or not, that kind of confidence is dangerous because it doesn't crack. When Jake says people don't see what he sees, you can almost believe him, not because he's necessarily right, but because belief like that lets you walk into a storm with a smile. The Starbucks barista line, Pure Jake Corney calculated, and somehow...
And two-time world champion, are you going to have to carry him to make it a spectacle? Or is he going to get the full, AJ?
The full. The full. There's a methodical process to knocking someone out. But if the opportunity presents itself, I'm not planning on...
That's Jake trying to turn tension into comfort, making a 6 feet 6 inches heavyweight feel like just another character in his movie. When he talks about nerves, meditation, breath work, and letting energy go, it's not fear, it's preparation in influencer language. You might laugh, but you can't ignore it. I love how he casually brushes off the scripted fight talk. Too like relax. This is real life, not Netflix drama. While acting like the world's about to pivot around him, here's the truth. We have to admit Jake isn't pretending this is easy. He calls it the hardest thing he's ever done, and that honesty makes the confidence even louder. He's not reckless, he's committed. Whether that belief survives contact is another story, but walking in with jokes, calm breathing, and zero visible intimidation says one thing: Jake Paul might be in over his head, but he's upright smiling and fully convinced this chapter ends the way he imagined. In boxing, belief doesn't win fights, but it sure makes him...
AJ, they want you to win by knockout. What do you make of that? People here in the States as well.
I love him. That's what we got to do. That's what we're supposed to do. From the days of watching Mike, whether it's Foreman, Shavers, why do people love boxing? They don't love it from fighters that box 12 rounds and look great technically. They want to see people getting knocked out. It's just...
By the end of the night, this felt less like a fight and more like a stress test for boxing itself, experience, belief, preparation, and pressure all thrown into the same ring to see what would give first. One corner carried years of discipline and calm control. The other showed up fueled by confidence, vision, and refusal to feel out of place. That clash made every moment count. It wasn't about flash or viral moments. It was about how each man bore the weight of expectation once the noise faded and the work began. Now it's your turn. Fights like this don't stop at the final bell. Did experience dominate? Or did belief push the limits further than you thought? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Debate respectfully. And if you're here for Boxing with BW today, hit like, share, and subscribe.